Oh, I couldn't help myself, you guys. I just couldn't. Welcome to our Sunday gathering number 99. As you can tell by the music, it's 99 theme music. Hard to believe we've been together for so long. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you've joined us here before, welcome back. My friends and I created the Sunday gathering way back when, 99 weeks ago, to really help uplift us all, to unite us with the reality that the life after death exists, that our loved ones are around. We are such a different kind of Sunday service because, boy, I think we really bring joy, creativity, personality. We have a mediumship demonstration with Phil and Carrie always to look forward to. Carrie, Phil, and Darren are going to be doing our address today. Darren's going to be doing the opening prayer. Carrie's going to be closing with our closing prayer and also doing some words for the week. And I'm going to be talking about chocolate. Haha. Valentine's Day is tomorrow. And I don't know about you, but I'm not a big fan of Valentine's Day, probably because most Valentine's Day I've been single. Maybe that's it, or maybe it's just too commercialized. So I said to myself, instead of celebrating Valentine's Day, let's celebrate chocolate. And we'll sprinkle in a little love. Certainly we will, but why not, right? Why not? It's fun. So with that, a big warm welcome wherever in the world you are, or if you're watching the replay, you're still part of the family. I'd like to turn it over to Darren for our opening prayer.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Sandra, and welcome to all of you. If you'd all like to close your eyes and join us for the opening prayer of our 99th Sunday gathering. Wow. We come together here today as friends, brothers and sisters from around the world. We come together in love, peace and harmony with the same goal and intent within our hearts and our minds to join our world with that we call the unseen. We come together from different countries around the globe. We come together speaking different languages. We come together from different backgrounds and different teachings and different understandings. But today we come together with that one thing in common, and that's the word of love. We come together and unite here as one in that word we call love. And in doing so, we enter into this experience, putting aside our daily lives, putting aside our own wants, our own desires, and our own needs, and entering into this experience with no demands or no expectations, but nothing but pure love. And allowing our workers here to work today and be open and be free so that we can all truly experience and feel the true essence of the Spirit, and allow ourselves to feel that healing balm, those wise thoughts and those words of truth, which in turn will bring us all comfort, understanding, healing and upliftment. We ask our dear friends, helpers and loved ones from that world we call unseen to be here again with us today. And we thank you for this opportunity for allowing us to participate in these Sunday gatherings and allowing these to take place week in and week out. All our workers here today are working on behalf of your world and representing your world and being part of your world. And we all deem this to be an absolute joy and privilege. And in doing so, as we walk side by side, we will do our utmost best to represent you and be your representation in the best way of that we know how, and in our own understanding and knowledge. And we hope we do this in the best way with the utmost honesty and integrity. As we open up this Sunday gathering, we do so with joy, happiness and love within our hearts and our minds. And we open up today's gathering in the theme of love and chocolate. Love we can offer freely in abundance, and chocolate is just that small token we can offer as thanks and appreciation to all those around us to help bring joy and happiness. And we hope we can capture the essence of this gathering to help bring joy and upliftment to all those around the world who may be in need at this time. And we ask that the healing balm that we create here as one can help go out to the world and help those in need that need that little bit of love and that little bit of inspiration and upliftment at this moment in time, so that we can bring all of mankind to that same place of happiness and love. And we ask also that the power built here today goes out to help some of the leaders of our world to make the right decision in the coming days. And as always, friends, we welcome you here with an abundance of love. So welcome, friends.
Thank you very much, Darren. So for your reading, you get me. And I don't know if you know much about me or my history. You may have read my book, but long before I became an author, I owned a coffee and chocolate store. It's in Kent, Connecticut. I opened it back in 1991. I was between jobs and not knowing what to do. My mom told me her favorite things were a cup of coffee and a chocolate bar. So that's how it was born. And I'm a trained chef. And the thing I liked to do the best was make the chocolates and the desserts. But during that time, I recorded a CD to try to build more excitement around chocolate. And it still exists out in the world. In fact, when this is over, I can post it in our Facebook group if you'd like, or you can email me and I'll send you a copy. It's called The Law of Chocolate. And at the time, the secret and the law of attraction were really big. So I called it The Law of Chocolate instead of The Law of Attraction. And it was all about the history of chocolate and that you too could have your dreams come true by eating chocolate. So it's really playful. And there's all kinds of chocolate trivia in there and history. But I figured today I can give you just some of the basics about chocolate. In fact, behind me, what you see are cacao pods from, well, different places in the world grow it. But inside one of these pods, if you cut it open, it would be almost like a melon or something like that, or a squash that's filled with seeds. Now, those seeds are actually the cacao beans that will turn into chocolate. So here we go. Chocolate has been consumed for over 3,500 years. The word comes from an ancient Mayan word called xocolotl, which means bitter water. So it's interesting, the chocolate bar that we know and love today wasn't invented until 1847. And for most of the 3,500 years that people consuming chocolate, it was consumed as a drink. And what it meant was bitter water. Interesting. The history of chocolate can be traced to the ancient Mayans and even earlier to the ancient Olmecs of southern Mexico. And the word chocolate can conjure up, the ooey gooey sweet candy bars and truffles and things. But the chocolate of the past isn't even close to what we had today. So, like I said, this bitter beverage was consumed. And it was mixed with spices and water and kind of whisked together. Let's see, let me just tell you some more. I'm getting off track. So chocolate is made from the fruit of the cacao trees, which are native to Central and South America. The fruits are called pods, which are behind me, and each pod contains around 40 cacao beans. The beans are dried and roasted. The earliest history of chocolate was discovered in some pots, some residue from pots that were believed to be from the year 1500 BC, around that time. And it was believed that chocolate was consumed as a ceremonial drink. And despite chocolate's importance in the Mayan culture, it wasn't reserved for the wealthy and powerful, but it was readily available for everyone. In many Mayan households, chocolate was enjoyed with every meal. Mayan chocolate was thick and frothy and often combined with chili peppers, honey, and water. The Aztecs took chocolate admiration to a whole nother level. They believed cacao was given to them by the gods. Like the Mayans, they enjoyed the caffeinated kick of the hot or cold spiced chocolate beverages in ornate containers, but they also used the cacao beans as currency, and it was used to buy food and other goods. In Aztec culture, cacao beans were considered more valuable than gold. Aztec chocolate was mostly an upper class extravagance, although the lower classes were able to consume it occasionally at weddings and other celebrations. Perhaps the most notorious Aztec chocolate lover of them all was Aztec ruler Montezuma II, who supposedly drank gallons of chocolate each day for energy. It's also said he reserved some of his cacao beans for his military. There are conflicting reports about when chocolate arrived in Europe, although everybody agrees it first arrived in Spain. One story says Christopher Columbus discovered cacao beans after intercepting a trade ship on a journey to America and brought the beans back to Spain with him in 1502. Another tale states Spanish conquistador Hernan Cortez was introduced to chocolate by the Aztecs of Montezuma's court. After returning to Spain, cacao beans in tow, he supposedly kept his chocolate knowledge a well-guarded secret. A third claim says that friars who presented Guatemalan Mayans to King Philip II of Spain in 1544 also brought cacao beans along as a gift for him. But no matter how chocolate got to Spain, by the late 1500s, it was a much-loved indulgence by the Spanish court, and Spain began importing chocolate in 1585. Again, this is still a liquid now. As other European countries, such as Italy and France, visited parts of Central America, they also learned about cacao and brought chocolate back to their respective countries. Soon, chocolate mania spread throughout Europe. However, European palates weren't satisfied with the traditional chocolate recipe of the Aztecs. They made their own varieties of hot chocolate with cane sugar, cinnamon, and other common spices and flavorings. Soon, fashionable chocolate houses for the wealthy cropped up throughout London, Amsterdam, and other European cities. Now, chocolate arrived to America in Florida on a Spanish ship in 1641. It's thought that the very first American chocolate house opened in Boston in the year 1682. By 1773, cocoa beans were a major American colony import, and chocolate was enjoyed by people of all classes. During the Revolutionary War, chocolate was provided to the military as rations and sometimes given to the soldiers as payment instead of money. When chocolate first came on the scene in Europe, it was a luxury only the rich could enjoy. But in 1828, Dutch chemist Johannes van Houten discovered a way to treat cacao beans with alkaline salts to make a powdered chocolate that was easier to mix with water. This became known as Dutch processing, and the chocolate produced called cacao powder or Dutch cocoa. Van Houten supposedly also invented the cocoa press. The cocoa press separated the cocoa butter from the roasted cocoa beans to inexpensively and easily make cocoa powder, which was used to create a wide variety of delicious chocolate products. Both Dutch processing and the chocolate press helped make chocolate affordable for everyone. It opened the door for chocolate to be mass produced. For much of the 19th century, chocolate was enjoyed as a beverage, and milk was often added instead of water. In 1847, British chocolatier J.S. Fry and Sons created the first chocolate bar molded from a paste made of sugar, cocoa powder, and cocoa butter. Swiss chocolatier Daniel Peter is generally credited for adding dried milk powder to chocolate to create milk chocolate in 1876. But it wasn't until several years later that he worked with his friend, Henry Nestle, and they opened the Nestle Company and brought milk chocolate to the mass market. Chocolate had come a long way during the 19th century, but it was still hard and difficult to chew. In 1879, Swiss chocolatier Rudolf Lindt invented the conch machine, which mixed and aerated chocolate, giving it a smooth, melt-in-your-mouth consistency that blended well with other ingredients. By the late 19th century and early 20th century, family chocolate companies such as Cadbury, Mars, Nestle, and Hershey's were mass producing a variety of chocolate confections to meet the growing demand. Today, most modern chocolate is highly refined and mass produced, although some chocolatiers still make their chocolate creations by hand and try to keep the ingredients as pure as possible. Here's a little bit of chocolate history, chocolate trivia. Did you know that white chocolate is not chocolate at all? Chocolate is brown. White chocolate is everything that's left after the brown chocolate is removed, and cocoa butter and sugar is added. And we've heard that chocolate is healthy for us. Well, the sugar, not so much. And there are many reasons why. Now, I'll just talk to you now about antioxidants. We all know they're so good for us. Antioxidants are measured in ORAC units, and it's recommended that adults have at least 5,000 ORAC units a day for optimum health. So how would you like to get it? Now, blueberries are high in antioxidants, right? Well, 1 ounce of blueberries has 1,900 ORAC units. 1 ounce of milk chocolate has 2,200 ORAC units. 1 ounce of dark chocolate, 6,000 units. And 1 ounce of raw chocolate, we can find that health food stores or in the internet. It's called cacao powder or cacao nibs, 8,000 units. So other benefits of chocolate: eat 1 ounce of dark chocolate every day. You'll be lowering your risk of cancer and heart disease, lowering your LDL cholesterol, sleeping better, having great energy, being in a good mood. And well, it's Valentine's Day tomorrow, and chocolate gives us that in love feeling. So it's all good. So again, after this is over, I'll post in our Facebook group that Law of Chocolate audio I was telling you about. It's super entertaining. Or you can email me about it. Or if you go to wedon'tdie.com, you can click on the Facebook group at the top. Or also it's in the book links tab that's in the top. So you can find that. So the bottom line to my talk today is eat more chocolate. So we're going to go into our healing segment now. And this is the time to just relax. There's a beautiful piece of music. It's the Pure Imagination song from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. But we want to think now of our loved ones or ourselves or the people of the world, wherever healing needs to go. Picture them all, yourself included, healthy, well, happy, and whole. And we'll send some healing to all that need it. So here's our song.
Thank you, Sandra, for those wonderful words in the reading and that healing too. But I don't know who else who will agree with me. Who's starving hungry, seeing that chocolate and listening to chocolate? I know I am, and my mouth's watering. And that little video that Sandra did at the beginning, showing me running towards the chocolate, is exactly right. I do love my chocolate. And now, thanks to Sandra, I've got every excuse to eat even more. She says it's really good for us. And I believe that to be true. But actually, I've got to thank and congratulate Sandra for a wonderful theme, love and chocolate. And I've got to admit, they go together, don't they? If you really think about it, all through your life, wherever there's been love, there's been chocolate. Wherever there's chocolate, there's been love. So they're tied together. And for those in the UK that may be listening, we got brought up on the TV to chocolate adverts, and we can tie so much music and memories to chocolate itself. So as we look at love, I guarantee that journey of chocolate's there at the side. And as Sandra said, the cacao tree, I got it right, saying it right this time, Sandra, cacao tree. It's about that pod, it's about that being growing and being used. Well, it's not too dissimilar to love again, because it becomes from a pure interest and pleasure within us that love grows as well and ferments into something far more stronger, just like the cacao bean. And if we look at the journey of the bean and how it's used and through history, as Sandra's described to you, it's something that, again, in love, that we learn to appreciate, because we're actually finding many different loves. And please don't take me out of context for that, because we have different loves in different ways. Because I guarantee that the partners you love dearly, but it's a different love, isn't it, when we talk about our parents? Still pure, still pleasure, still a great emotion within us. And it's a different love again when we think of our children, because we'll do anything for our children. We'll give our lives for our children and sacrifice self for our children. That's what we do, because it's a far greater love. And then there's those things that walk on four legs, our pets, our animals, our fur babies, whatever you want to call them. It's a different kind of love again, no less, no stronger. But again, as we grow through those loves, chocolate's brought in because parents like chocolate. They were brought up on chocolate. My mum loves Turkish delight. So again, as a gift on a special birthday, I'll give her chocolate. I'll give her that. And we did at Christmas as well. But again, it's not just for that parent, children, selection boxes, all kinds of things. So you can see how they really are tied together in that journey of life through love, through pleasure. Now, if we look at what Sandra said and said, eat more chocolate, we have a saying here in the UK, it says, a moment on the lips, a lifetime on the hips, sort of thing, okay? But again, that's what we were brought up on. And all the different types of chocolates, just as we have different loves, we've got Mars bars, we've got caramels, we've got Nestle, Milky bars, we've got all kinds, curly whirlies, those things that are really sticky and stick in your teeth and almost pulling them out as you're eating them. So again, it's not just love, there's fond memories there. Because if you think about how you were brought up and what adverts were on the TV, straight away my mind goes to Cadbury's Milk Tray, the woman that loves Milk Tray, the mysterious, handsome gentleman in the dark suit that comes in flying on a boat, maybe from a sunset, comes into the house and lays it for a lady loves Milk Tray. It's that romance, it's the excitement, the exotic side. Even where adverts were abseiling from helicopters into the same, giving the same box of chocolates. And again, we grew up on that. And I always wondered how they got away with it, burglary sort of thing. You climb into somebody's house, but yet it's the fun side, the jokes that we have, again, tied to loving moments with family, but also tied to chocolate. And if we look at where I talked about our furry friends that we love as well, how many chocolates are named after our furry friends? These marketers are not daft, are they? Penguins, lion bars, all kinds of things. And you get the roar, you get the cute little penguin. They know exactly what they're doing. But actually, it's a term of endearment, isn't it? Because we give chocolates. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day. And what do? We give chocolate, whether it's Milk Tray, Ferrero Rocher, whether it's just a big bar, whatever you love. There's so many different things. Even when we tie the knot and we get married, guess what there is? Yes, there's the chocolate fountain that you saw on Sandra's video there as well. So chocolate is an integral part of our lives, just as that love is. And it's understanding how we show love. A love can be through a gesture, can be through a smile, can be through a look, can be through a handshake. It can be that supportive hand. Love has many different feelings within it. But actually, if you try and describe what love is, it's one of the hardest things to describe because it's an emotion, it's a feeling. Some words don't cover it. This young lady at the side of me, I have a love for her. I can't describe to you how I feel about her. I try and express it. She made the joke earlier, but you never buy me chocolates. And I said, well, it's commercialized. I like to do it. And we have things in a different way. We like to share time together or buy gifts at certain times of the year, not on necessarily important days, but when we feel it's needed. So love can be shown in many, many different ways. But again, it's not just within our adult life. Even as children, we show love. Even in the playground, you see young children giving the first crush, that bar of chocolate, that Snicker, the chocolate biscuit, sharing it. I never used to share food. Kerry said, why do you not share? And I said, I don't, it's mine. And what I actually started to realize as those feelings grew, it was acceptable for me to share. So there's a learning in there as well. So it's really understanding all the different types of feelings we can have, because I mentioned partners, I mentioned children, I mentioned family, but we can have a love for football teams. We can have a love for different kinds of sport, and we all get very passionate about it, don't we? And actually, we can score games through love. Look at tennis, 15 love, 30 love. That's about all my knowledge. But again, you're seeing so many different things. And we can have different loves even more because we can have hobbies and passions. And it's a love of dancing, a love of expression, a love of theatre. There's many, many different forms of love. And if we look at love just for a second, it's pleasure. It's something that makes us smile inside. It's something that makes us feel good. It's an expression of sharing, enjoying moments together. Nothing more so than sharing a bar of chocolate, giving your last Rolo here in the United Kingdom to the one that you love. At least say to the last person you love, but to the love. Okay? But it's understanding what we do and how because if you can think of a film about love and you can prove me wrong that it doesn't have chocolate in, if you can show me an advert about love that doesn't have chocolate in, you can see how integral they are. So it's not just a pleasure within, it's actually a pleasure of taste. What somebody leaves within us, what somebody helps us within, somebody that changes and makes us feel a certain way. So actually, love and chocolate perform both, and understanding the combined attributes makes us understand who we are, because I guarantee there's a chocolate you love, and I guarantee the chocolate you love brings you memories of certain people that have been in your life. I remember getting my first selection box at Christmas by my grandparents, my introduction really to chocolate and having that love. And I still love that same chocolate bar. It was Cadbury's milk chocolate, it was caramels, it was Mars bars. They're my favorites. So each time I have one, I've got memories, but I've also got memories of sharing those memories with my children. And with my children, I share those memories with Kerry. And it's understanding and sharing those moments, because we love our chocolate. Kerry has this lovely way of going out shopping and saying, I bought you some chocolate, then I go and look for it, it's been eaten. So again, it's that sharing of love. But most of all, what I want to share with you is that how we can link our memories, not just to love and chocolate, but makes us happy, that can change our life. Just like that journey of the cacao seed and bean, how it's changed over time. We change over time. Our loves change over time for different sports, different relationships. Have a think about it. See where that chocolate creeps into that love.
So tomorrow I can expect your last Rolo and a box of dairy milk.
I don't eat rolls.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is absolutely spot on what Phil has just said about chocolate. And as we grow up, isn't it just the case where we can remember those adverts? I remember Cadbury's caramel. I remember the adverts for the Milky Bar Kid. I remember the adverts for the Mars bar. Mars a day helps you work, rest and play. I remember the adverts for the finger of fudge. I remember the curly whirlies. You'll notice that most of them are Cadbury. Now, I have to confess, my favourite chocolate is Cadbury's Dairy Milk. It is just something about it. Whether it has hazelnuts in it, whether it's plain, whether it has, yeah, you get the idea. Dairy milk is something that I like. I can have 1 or 2 or 3 squares, and it is, there's a fly flying about here, but
1 or 2 squares?
At a time. And then it allows that sense that Sandra was talking about to enjoy the chocolate. I know that Phil talked about the Cadbury's caramel, but I wonder what your taste is, because if you can have a look at your taste, then you get in touch with the sensory perception that happens when you taste chocolate. So you might like the bitterness of the dark chocolate, because somewhere on your tongue there are taste buds that resonate with that bitterness of the dark chocolate. You might like white chocolate, and Sandra shared there about, well, white chocolate, there's got the dark chocolate taken out, the milk chocolate taken out of it. And then what type of chocolate you like with things in. Sandra mentioned peanut butter. Phil mentioned caramel. You might have your own filling that goes with that. I know when we go to different countries, the chocolate has been changed to the palate of the people that live in that country. It might have the same cover on the top, whether it be Hershey's, Dairy Milk, Nestle, whichever make it is. it changes in its taste because countries have their own palates. They've been brought up on certainty. So people come to the UK and think, oh, this is too sweet, or it's not sweet enough. But if you have a look at how you were brought up, chocolate comes from offering that gesture of looking out for, looking after, and sharing moments. I know in my family, the chocolate that gets brought out on the Christmas day is after eights. I don't know if they're known all around the world, but it's this part of Christmas Day. Even though you're full and you don't think you could possibly eat one more thing, but then there's the after eight. And you reach in and the paper comes out and there's this tiny little square of dark chocolate with mint and hardly takes up any room at all. And there you enjoy it. Chocolate allows everybody to come together, whether it is sharing in a square of chocolate, whether it's sharing the memories of what we were brought up in or brought up on. Chocolate allows us to resonate and check in on those people we love and the memories we love. Generally, chocolate allows us to feel good. Now we know from Sandra why we feel good, but it makes us feel good. So maybe tomorrow, treat yourself to something that you haven't had in a while, or that allows you to be fully present within that. Just a little bar of chocolate. So you can see, I don't eat that. That will be your treat for tomorrow.
It will be.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for that, Kerry. Well, my name's Darren, and I'm definitely a chocoholic. We've all grown up with chocolate and we've all lived around chocolate. And chocolate is such an integral part of our lives, even if we know it or not. Myself, when I was growing up, throughout my whole of junior school and high school, my mum used to work for a company that done chocolate. She worked for Nestle, and she used to be based in their offices in London when we lived there. So pretty much all through my childhood, I was brought up on Nestle chocolate. We had it in abundance. But the scary thing was, she worked in this massive tower block in London where Nestle's one of their headquarters were. They had a whole floor of this office building. It was 22 stories high, and one whole floor was dedicated to the shop for Nestle staff only. And you can imagine the stuff that was in there. I mean, they didn't just own, Nestle owned a mass of other different companies, but chocolate was the main thing I remember. And I remember Mum coming home with carrier bags, absolute carrier bags full of chocolate. They got it at such a discounted price. I don't know who owned Nestle at the time, but they treated their staff well. And when I tell you, they were getting chocolate bars for 1p, 2p each. So Mum used to fill bags. So I literally grew up on Nestle chocolate throughout my whole childhood. But I've got a confession. Like Kerry, I've got a favourite chocolate, and it's not a Nestle chocolate. I don't know whether it's because I've had so many years of being bombarded with Nestle chocolate, but for me personally, my liking is the same as Kerry. This one here, Cadbury's Dairy Milk. There's nothing better than a wonderful bar of Cadbury's Dairy Milk. Yep, Kerry's got one there. And for those of you who don't know, there was a gentleman, Roald Dahl, that wrote a story many, many years back, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, that became known as Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, or whatever it became known as a film later on. Roald Dahl actually went to school near the Cadbury's Chocolate Factory. And that's where he got his inspiration to write the film Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Because when he was at school, because they were so close to the Cadbury Chocolate Factory, when they brought out new chocolates, they used to send bars of this chocolate to the local schools for them to sample them free of charge, just to see what the feedback was and how people enjoyed them. And that's where Roald Dahl's imagination went a bit crazy and wild. And that's where he came up with the story Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But like Kerry's already mentioned, with Cadbury's chocolate, or same as many other chocolates, when you go to a different country, it doesn't taste the same, it tastes different. And I know with the US, when it's exported to the US, there's certain ingredients that's not allowed to go into the US. When it goes to Spain and Australia, the atmosphere is a lot warmer than it is in the UK, so they have to put something in it to stop it melting. But it shows, you know, chocolate is made and molded and adapted to fit into different environments, different areas, which is not too dissimilar to us, is it? I mean, if I went to live in a hot country, I would have to adapt myself, you know, to that environment, that country that I'm within. But at the bottom of it, like Kerry said, you know, you can't beat Cadbury's milk chocolate. For those of you that live in the UK, you cannot beat Cadbury's chocolate made in the UK. It just has that unique and distinct taste, which I think we was all brought up on and we've got to know and got to love. And again, it's a bit like us. You know, if I went to live abroad somewhere, yeah, I'd have to adapt. I'd have to change to be different or adapt to the environment that I'm in. If I went to live somewhere hot and sunny, I'd have to put loads of sun cream on. If I went somewhere cold, I'd have to put extra layers on. But underneath it all, at the base, I'm still the true person that I started off as. And that's what, you know, when I say about chocolate being an integral part of our life, not only do we eat it and enjoy it, but for me, it's got loads of meanings behind it, as crazy as it may sound. But I've got another favourite chocolate. When I want a bit of a luxury chocolate, and many of you probably haven't heard of this one or seen this one. This one here is called Montezuma's chocolate, and it's a local chocolate produced in the same county that we live in Sussex in the UK. The company was started from a couple that were lawyers, and they decided they wanted to change in their careers. They were fed up of being lawyers. So they both quit their jobs and went off on an adventure to South America, where they spent many months on cocoa plant fields, getting involved in production of cocoa. And they got a love for it. They got a desire for it. So when they came back to the UK, back to Sussex where they live, they created this handmade chocolate known today as Montezuma's. It started off as one little shop in Brighton, which I stumbled across on one of my days out in Brighton shopping. And I fell in love with the chocolate instantly. It tasted amazing. The flavors were wonderful. But more importantly, the two guys that set it up, they always said they wanted their own business, but they made a pledge. If they ever made their dream or fulfilled their dream of getting their own business, they wanted to help. They wanted to help humanity. So what they do now, profits made from the chocolate sold goes towards a children's organization which helps needy children all over the world. It's not advertised in their shops, and you don't see it. It's not until you start digging and researching you find this information out. And they sell on Amazon, they sell in big chains all across the UK. I'm not sure whether it's over the world, but for me, that's one of my favorite luxury chocolates if I want it. But it shows what good can come from chocolate. You know, these guys were lawyers, changed careers, and they made a pledge that if they got this business, they would help people all across the world by selling chocolate. And it shows how adaptable we can be as individuals and humans. You know, these guys, they grew up training to be lawyers, and now they're making chocolate. But they've had to change, they've had to adapt, they've had to learn. And it just shows the power we have behind us. If we want to change, if we want to adapt, it shows it's possible. You know, and when you look, chocolate as a whole, it's been used over, I know Sandra, Phil, Kerry have all spoken about how chocolate is used and the memories we have of chocolate. Chocolate, I think, can be an extension of our expression, extension of ourselves. You know, you've got the two guys that set up the chocolate shop. You've got Hershey's, Cadbury's, Nestle, you name it, you've got it. But look at the other people that have used it for inspiration. You know, we have it in alcoholic drinks. You know, we've got it in a well-known Mexican food, mole, and it's probably in other foods. Where did the ideas come from? Where did the inspiration come from? It's come from people that's got a love or a passion for that thing, and they've used something else they love and have got a passion for, which is chocolate. You know, it's used in so many things across the world. And, you know, when you look at, I haven't got any pictures, unfortunately, but when you look across the world, and I'm sure many of you have seen TV shows, I know, again, in Brighton, we had one, we got Hotel de Chocolat. There was one Walkie Dokie Doodahs, it was called. Walkie Dokie Doodahs, I think it was called. Unfortunately, they've ceased trading now. But they used to create the most elaborate cakes and chocolate and sculptures. It was well documented all over the world. You'd go past their shop window, and the shop window was like going into Disney World. It was, each time of the year, it had a different theme and a different thing to it. And when you looked, it was all made of chocolate. You know, the colors they've added into it, the sculptures they've made, you would never know it was chocolate unless someone told you it was chocolate. So when you think, you know, chocolate is used so much around the world, not only do we enjoy tasting it, we can enjoy looking at it, and we can do so much with it, and it brings so much to us across the world. And I know I mentioned it, you know, we use it as an extension of our expression. People do, when they're passionate about something, you know, they create these wonderful sculptures. You know, they've got to be passionate about it to do it. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't have the patience all the time to, you know, if you look at when they're on the TV show, how much time, effort, and dedication it takes to sculpt and mold one of these things. I'm a very patient person, but I don't think I'd have the patience for it. And I know tomorrow is a big day for all of us. It's Valentine's Day. But I'm in Sandra's camp. I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. To me, it's very commercialized. It's a day people express their love for one another. But why do we use Valentine's Day for that? Why can we not do that any day and every day, like Phil and Kerry said? You know, they don't buy people, you know, they don't buy each other chocolate for Valentine's Day. They do it when they want to do it. And that's how we should be in life. You know, let's not be dictated when we should do this or when we should do that. You know, let's do it when we want to do it. We don't, me and Scott don't celebrate birthdays. We don't really celebrate Christmas apart from the whole family thing. We do things when we want to do it. You know, we said, why should we be controlled, you know, when we want to do stuff? When you say I love someone, why should you be told what day to do it? But chocolate truly is a good expression of showing your love, your thanks, your gratitude, not only to yourselves, but to others. And just as I was finishing, I just wanted to show you one more picture. It's only as Sandra was talking earlier. I don't know if I can get it up, but let me have a look. And it's, oh, hang on. Sandra spoke earlier. This week is our 99th episode of of the Sunday Gathering. There's a thing in the UK, many of you may know. It's made by Cadbury's, and it's known as a 99 flake, which you see in the picture there. And in the UK, you probably all know as kids, and even as adults, we still do it. When the ice cream van comes around, we go and ask for 99 ice cream, which is basically a soft whipped ice cream with a Cadbury's chocolate 99 flake shoved in the top. When we go on holiday to a seaside resort in the UK, you cannot go anywhere in a seaside resort without seeing a 99 flake. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. It's a bit of chocolate, and it's a bit of love, and it just stands for our 99th episode of our Sunday Gathering. So thank you for listening to me, guys, and I'll hand you back to Sandra.
Oh, you guys are the best. You could have done anything with our addresses today, and you weaved them so well with the chocolatey goodness. Here's just a couple bits of chocolate trivia. Anybody like a Snickers bar with the peanuts and caramel? Snickers was named after the chocolate maker's favorite horse. Haha, never look at Snickers bar the same way. And for those of us who like Reese's peanut butter cups, did you know that peanut butter was invented because too many people were missing teeth and they needed a way to get protein to people? So they invented peanut butter. And of course, the chocolate manufacturers mixed it with a little sugar, dipped it in chocolate. We have peanut butter cups. So we have the lack of dentists to thank for our peanut butter cups today. I'm a little silly. All right, we're going to move into our demonstration of mediumship. And I know the spirit world wants us to be joyful. Once they take their last breath here, it's very, very painful for us that are left behind. I don't mean to make light of it because I know so many in our community are grieving the loss. Grief is very real, very, very painful. But for our loved ones, once they close their eyes for the first time, they open them again, they are surrounded by love, their loved ones, family, pets, guides. I mean, it's a very joyful experience. Now, they communicate through thoughts and feelings, which is how they communicate with Carrie and Phil that are going to be doing our demonstration today. So Carrie and Phil are both well-trained mediums. They're our tutors for our classes on psychic and mediumship and more. And so the spirit world is in charge of this part. Probably the whole part, our whole Sunday gathering with all the inspiration we get. But Carrie and Phil will each have an opportunity to be our demonstrating medium. And while there's just a handful of us presenting to you the Sunday gathering, and there's several hundred of us in our community, there are several thousand, perhaps even more, in our unseen community. And there will be a handful of representatives that will step forward, communicate through Carrie and Phil to our entire gathering here to let us all know that love never dies, that they're still with us, that they are watching us, celebrating with us, and right by our side. So I know each and every one of us wants to be the one who gets a reading during our gathering, but our representatives are really here to tell all of us that love remains, that they're still around. So the messages that come through, there's a sneaky way that they have of, we can all take a little bit of the information and the message for ourselves and our lives. So I love that they are part of this, and we're part of them, and it's absolutely beautiful. So when Carrie or Phil works, they are going to be receiving information from whoever the spirit friend is. Now, the spirit world knows who's in our gathering. They do. And even if you're listening on your phone, or if you're one of our friends watching on Facebook, you do need to join us in our Zoom room to be part of this part so we can see you. But they'll give different bits of information about the person that has connected with them from the unseen world, and let them describe this person, who they are, maybe the relationship, and they'll give a description. Now, at that point, if you honestly know in your heart, boy, my loved one fit that description 100%. And it could be a loved one, it could be a friend. Sometimes it's a little bit distant of a connection. But if you can understand that, oh my gosh, they're talking about somebody that I knew, we want you to press your raise hand button. Now, this is a good opportunity for our new friends to find that raise hand button wherever it is on your device. If you want to press it now just to see what happens, please feel free to do so. It may take a minute or two for us to zero in on who this person is here to speak with through Carrie or Phil. And at the point when we figure that out, the person that will get the reading, I will press a button on my side and I'll ask you to unmute yourself. Now, you can't see that button yet unless I press something on my side. And when I say you get to speak to Carrie or Phil, we want everybody in our community to know that the spirit world is doing the work here, and they're presenting themselves. So as Carrie and Phil deliver information about the loved one, all we want you to say is yes, no, or I don't know to the information. Okay, confirm whether what they're telling you is correct. If it's not, be honest, say no, and let them see where they might have gotten wrong. And then I don't know, because it's possible you may not know about the details. So that's it. That's how it goes. And it's joyful. So just relax. And we do ask everybody to listen in, though, because sometimes there's people that are a little too nervous to press their raise hand button, thinking, oh, they can't possibly be talking about my loved one. And well, we are. So sometimes people don't speak up. So anyways, yeah, you're amongst friends here. So just relax. We like to play a piece of empowering music before every demonstration, just to join the good feeling. Oh boy, do I wish I had a piece of chocolate to share with everyone right now, because I'm sure everybody's mouths are salivating, but there might be a little chocolate in one way or the other coming through on the next video. So just sit back, relax, talk to your loved ones in the unseen world. There's no doubt they're by your side right now. And just enjoy the song. Here we go. Look at that little chubby face. Well, a little more chocolate. Hello, Carrie.
Hello. I love the choice of song. And I saw some of the pictures of the little ones with chocolate all over the faces. That's how you know they're really, really enjoying chocolate. It's when you see them pulling it all off their face. And that's just Phil. So Well, it is an absolute pleasure. He's giggling here. It is my absolute pleasure to be able to work for the Spirit World for you. It is a beautiful thing to be able to bring a Sunday gathering. Number 99. I love the songs at the beginning. I love 99 ice creams, Darren, and I love my chocolate. We're surrounded by it. So we've got a treat coming afterwards. But as I work with the Spirit World, I do know that I feel this as the Spirit World comes in. I do know that I have a father here, and I know that Darren spoke about his mum working in a chocolate factory, but I actually, or a shop, but I know that Dad worked in a chocolate factory, and I know as Dad works with me here, I get the sense that he would bring. I actually want to go back some time, and I do feel like I'm in the UK. I could be wrong with that, but I do feel I'm in the UK, because I feel like Dad brings home the large bars of chocolate that then would have been broken down into smaller pieces and sold, but he comes in with this large bar of chocolate. Does this make sense to anybody in our audience?
Thank you, Carrie. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you can understand this information, go ahead and press your raise hand button. No hands up just yet, Carrie.
Okay. I do get a sense, because if I'm not in the UK, I'll open it up, but I to other countries. But no, I'm not. I need to stay in the UK. So somebody would understand a gentleman. I'll take away the relationship, but they understand a gentleman in the spirit world that would have come home with large bars of chocolate, having worked in the factory. But I feel like they would not have got to the wrapping stage. They would have been seconds, so to speak, but still edible.
Sounds wonderful. All right, who can take this information? Doesn't have to be a father, just a gentleman in the spirit world working in the chocolate factory. No hands up yet, Carrie.
No hands yet. I'm very clear on what I see, so I'm not going to change too much with what I see here. Could I just change it round the evidence a little bit? Would somebody understand father? They must have father in the spirit world, but that they work at a chocolate factory and that they're bringing back this, I don't know what the correct name for it, the seconds, so to speak, but that they work or have worked in a chocolate factory and bring back those seconds to their family.
Thanks, Carrie. All right, somebody out there getting the real pull that should I, shouldn't I? We don't have any hands raised yet, folks. So if you're on the fence there, press your raise hand button. Spirit world's very intelligent and they know who's with us.
And I cannot change very much of this evidence because I know what I'm seeing. And I've got this Charlie in the Chocolate Factory and the song from Charlie in the Chocolate Factory going through my head. So I don't want to change it too much more. I do believe somebody's not putting up their hand. I do believe either because they're away from the screen or they're feeling a little bit shy. But what happens is the spirit world tends to just sit and enjoy the moment, because what we're not going to do is make it fit. This must go to the person that it's meant to go to. So I know I have father in the spirit world, and I know that this person must understand the bringing the chocolate fact back from the factory.
We have Donna here with us. Hi, Donna. And oh, Pam, we see you raised your hand as well. Donna, hello.
Yeah, Dad would bring the chocolate home when he had a good catch. That's what I'm feeling, but it might not be me.
But he wasn't involved in the making of that chocolate?
No, but he would bring it home when it was an indication he had a good catch.
Okay, can we just check? 'Cause it doesn't, I actually feel that
No.
he would have been involved in the making of it and get those seconds. You said there was somebody else, Sandra?
Yeah, there's Pam. Hi, Pam.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
Um,
we
I can.
can.
Yeah, so it is a factory that made food, and he would bring it home for us to taste test. It was like we would fill out forms to taste it, and there was chocolate that he would bring home. But I don't know, it wasn't a chocolate factory, it was a food factory. It was a place that made food.
Okay, then that chocolate must still be in circulation now. It's not, it's still a chocolate that exists.
I don't know that. It was, we were testing for a food company. So I'm
Right.
sure it was.
So can I just work with you for the moment, Pam, just to see, would you know that your dad would have, and when he brought the chocolate home to test it, there would have been, if I were to say to your dad that he would bring a lot, your dad would bring home quite a lot of different varieties of things, but I want to say not all of it was defective. It was like good quality food.
Yes, I mean, it was
okay. Just let me work with this for you, Pam, because I feel like now I said that it wasn't faulty, but I get the sense, Pam, that your dad would have been very proud of what he was bringing home.
I don't know that. I mean, he was happy to do it because we got to be part of taste testing it. So,
and would you just let me check? Would you know that your dad was quite an outgoing gentleman?
I don't think he was. No.
No, it doesn't feel right, Pam. I'm sorry,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen, but it's really important that I get to the correct person.
Okay, thank you.
We have Janet also here with us. Janet, could you press your unmute button? And
Hi,
thank you,
Sandra.
Janet.
I just did, but I don't know if it's me because I'm in America and it was my
Okay.
mom who worked in a chocolate factory.
Then if I've got that wrong, Janet, I'm willing to check, but you understand Dad in the spirit world?
Yes.
And you understand Dad would have been quite an outgoing personality?
Yes. Very
And
friendly.
the chocolate factory that your mum worked in, you would understand that to have originated, it would be like Cadbury's or Nestle or the likes?
It was Rockberry. And my mom was a contometer operator. She didn't handle the candy.
Don't give me any, Janet, don't give me any information. I just get this, I've not heard of that brand of chocolate at all, but there must have been quite a good quality chocolate.
Oh, yes.
Okay, because I feel like it's good quality chocolate. But I also know, Janet, then if this is your mum, forgive me, because I know it's your dad that came in first. If this was your mum that brought chocolate home, then your mum must have had access to more chocolate, as well as the stuff that was defective. There must have been the good stuff as well.
Yeah, she used to bring home big chunks of it.
Because I know that's what I saw, large chunks that would have been broken down. But with your dad, I know that with your dad, his personality would have been very much that outgoing, and your dad would have talked about this to other people.
I'm not sure.
About being able to get this chocolate, and it would have been a common knowledge that your mum brought this home.
Well, my friends were all jealous.
Okay, because I get the sense from your dad that there's this real feeling within him of wanting to bring, but it brought everybody together, Janet.
Maybe it's not me then that...
Janet, let me decide that, please, just yes or no. But you understand that this chocolate that your mum brought home brought people together?
Just our family. No outsiders.
Okay, I'll take that as a yes. So you understand that with your dad, he was very clear on his morals and his values.
Yes.
Because I know, as you're telling me, it's not you. I know your dad is very much, but this is how it is. So you must let the medium work, Janet, because I know that as your dad works with me here, the sense of pride, the sense of decisions, of making the right decisions and following your heart, this would have been your dad.
Yes.
then you would understand. And because it's taken me a little while to get to you, I want to share with you that your dad wants, you would know that your dad sees those decisions being around about you, those questioning and having to make decisions based on values and morals.
Yes.
Because I know your dad's very clear about this need to let you know, to trust, because I know your mum brought the chocolate home and that's what brought people together. Then there was also the family values and morals that kept the family together too.
Yes.
And I know your dad wants you to stand firm about your values and your morals, because it's incredibly important.
Yes, I know.
There must have been a specific type of chocolate that your dad very much enjoyed.
My dad enjoyed watching us eat the chocolate.
Yeah. Then there was
But
a very particular type of chocolate or candy that your dad, and it feels like it isn't traditional chocolate. It feels very particular and very like an independent type candy or chocolate.
I'm not sure.
Okay, then please know that this is your dad's way of wanting to let you know, I need to get this right for him. With your mum bringing this chocolate home, within that, there must have been a very particular piece that she liked more than anybody else, more than anything else.
She used to bring home bricks of the chocolate that we would break off and eat.
Okay, then there is, for you, Janet, I know that your dad's wanting to highlight this individuality, this being very specific, but please know your dad wants you to make decisions based on your values and your morals, and you do have decisions to make. So I know that's what your dad wants to share with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Janet. Sorry it took us a little while to get to you, but thank you very much for allowing me to do that for you.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Janet. Thank you, everybody, for your patience.
Okay, I do, now as I'm aware of the spirit world, I do get a sense of a gentleman. I know he is in the American Air Force. I know that he would have got to a senior position in the American Air Force. I also know that he would have had the occasion to visit the White House. I actually feel it's husband, but I do know this gentleman would have been in the American Air Force. I know he would have had an occasion to visit the White House.
Thank you, Carrie. All right, I'm going to ask our friends, raise your hand, please, if you can understand this information.
If I drop the relationship from husband, somebody would understand this information, because I can't go very far from what I've seen.
All right, we have Patricia with her hand raised. Hi, Patricia.
Hi.
Hi, Patricia. So you understand all the information I've given you?
He was in the Air Force, and but I'm not sure about the White House. I know he's been in DC, but I'm not sure if he actually went to see it or not.
Right. Then is this your husband, Patricia?
Yes.
Your husband must have met some politicians. He must have told you that he met politicians.
Actually, I am the one who met politicians. I worked for one.
Okay. Because I know your husband, he had a very secretive way about him. He was so respectful of privacy.
Oh, yes, very, very private.
Because the depth to which he's protecting privacy. Then, Patricia, would you know that you have, when you've met those politicians, then you must have heard stories about the White House, about Congress, about Capitol Hill?
Yes, of course.
Because I get this sense, and you haven't been to the White House, Patricia, then?
No.
No, then I know your husband must have had a tendency to, if you told him something, he was so proud of you that he would add little bits onto the story.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know your husband gives me the impression that he's been to Capitol Hill and you've been to the White House, and it would be a topic for him. But I know that this is within his keeping. I also need to say, Patricia, that you and him must have taken, okay, your husband must have known not politicians, but lawyers, solicitors.
Yes, but we had been to the Capitol, but in California, not in DC.
Because I know what he's showing me. I had no idea there was a Capitol in California. So I know what he's showing me, the Capitol that maybe anybody out the US would recognize.
Yeah, I had to work there for a while. I was at the Capitol.
Just give me yeses or no's, Patricia, because I need you to know that this has come from him. Then you and him must have jointly gone to this place, Patricia.
Yes, yes. Okay. I showed it to him. We visited it.
Just yes or... You're doing my job for me. You did a beautiful job for me. Because I know those memories are what he is bringing in. And this working with lawyers, working with solicitors, working with politicians and going to Capitol Hill, Patricia, your husband knows that for you just now, you are finding it very difficult to deal with matters around about law and around about politics at the moment. You're caught in a tender spot.
Yes.
Okay. I know this is your husband's way of saying he sees where you are and what is happening to you, and that you need to be looking at what you and him would be seeing, because I know you have been asking him, what should I do? Where should I go with this?
Yes.
If you were having a face-to-face conversation with him, which indeed you are, except you can't see him, please remember what he would have told you, because he would have reminded you about, don't think that you're any different just because you don't have the title or the letters after your name.
Yes.
That you are exactly who you're meant to be. I know this is your husband's way of letting you know, firstly, he hears your call out to him, he hears your conversation, but he also knows that there's an incredible depth to what you bring. Don't undervalue it.
Yes, thank you.
Please know this is your husband's way of saying, I see you, I hear you, I am there with you. And thank you for allowing me to do that for you, Patricia.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much. And I'm now going to invite Mr. Dykes to share in this chocolate moment.
We're going to call him Mr. Chocolate. He calls me Miss Chocolate.
Yes,
He's got
Mrs.
enough
Chocolate, I'm here.
in front of him. Hello, Mr. Chocolate.
Hello, hello. It's fabulous to be here once more. Fabulous to see Kerry work and hear those different accents coming through. So as I become aware of the spirit world, I know I have Mum, and I know Mum is chocoholic because I know she liked Quality Street, and I know in particular that she liked the gold ones. I'm sure they're the caramels, because my mouth is absolutely salivating here. So I know I've got Mum, I know she was a chocoholic, I know she liked Quality Street, but I also feel as well she tried to hide this, and it feels like I want to talk to daughter who knew about her love to about chocolate and Quality Street, and she would give her almost like as little gifts and presents, those gold ones, that almost like she saved them and give them to her.
Oh, that's very sweet, literally. Who can understand this information? We don't have Quality Street over here, so I'm guessing.
And if you don't have Quality Street, then it must be like a box or tub of chocolates like that. But I know it's the favorite ones out she will give, that would be given to her.
Very nice. Who can understand this information? Please press your raise hand button. All right, Christine. Christine, can you press your unmute button? Hi, Christine.
Hi, I'm here.
Welcome.
Hello, Christine. You understand everything I said about Mum and that chocoholic?
I certainly do.
And do you understand where she would like the favorite ones? It's almost like a gold color.
I'm not sure about the gold color.
Okay, then if I'm wrong, because I actually saw Quality Street, so let me come back to that in a second. But would I be right in saying that the certain bits of particular chocolate you would give to her?
Yes.
Because I know it's all about the favorites, it's all about, but I also feel you did it almost like as a little kind gesture at times as well.
Yeah.
Because again, it's not just about giving, it's about moments sharing those little bits. But would I be right in saying that Mum wouldn't would keep this chocoholic side of her to herself?
No.
Then if it's a no, because that was a good solid no, then would I be right in saying that people outside the family didn't know?
I don't know that.
Because there's a sense of wanting to keep it quiet. Would I also be right in saying that she was a very family-oriented person?
Yes.
And when I say that, it's the little gifts she was given, not just chocolates, but other things that she loved.
Yes.
And if I said she used to love to sit and go through the photographs as well.
Yes.
Because it feels like I want to go down memory lane. But also where I keep on going back to is at certain times of the year, like Christmas, there were favorite chocolates given.
Yes.
And because I know here, and I know it's almost like it, now I've got it where I wanted to go back to. It's almost like people tried to get in first to give her the chocolate first. Almost, do you understand?
Yes.
Because that's where I felt that secret was. But I also know with your mum, it used to be a little, she used to hide her chocolate. She used to have like a bit of a store of it as well.
Yeah.
Because again, it's almost like I'm being really grateful, but it's almost like I'm laughing inside because I know I've got a cupboard and drawer full of it. So but I want to say as well, there would be memories of buying chocolate from different places we visited.
I don't know.
Bear with me. Would I be right in saying that we've been to Disney World as well?
Not me with them.
Not you. Bear with me then. Would I be right in saying you've been to Disney World?
Yes.
And would I be right in saying you've had the, do you know, the like the mouse with made out of chocolate and things? Because
Most
I
likely.
know, because I know here that she's showing me different bits of chocolate from different places, and it's just the way she brings it in. So I know within the family there's that love of chocolate as well, and
Absolutely.
chocolate reflects to what I said in the address about having certain memories of certain things.
Yes.
Because I know it's all about, and I actually believe, and I want to take, I know you're only young, but I want to take you to where you're really young, where there'd be holidays where chocolate was given to you.
Yes.
Because again, and I also feel there's a particular chocolate that was given to you at Christmas.
Particular, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And I also, and I'm sure this is not just an English one, but would I be right in saying you get chocolate oranges as well in the States?
I've heard of them.
Okay, then would I be right in saying there's like an orange flavored chocolate that you either adore as well?
Not I.
Not you, but you understand who does?
Actually, I don't.
Then bear with me. Would I be right in saying that your mum used to like this? Now I've got it. You're going to have to help me here, Christina.
Okay.
I know I saw Quality Street earlier, but it feels like where there was chocolate that would come in different coloured foils out of, I don't know what it's called, but I know it comes in like tubs or boxes.
Cease chocolate. What does that come in? I don't know. I don't know what that package is.
Because I know there's a memory of certain coloured chocolates your mum would love, but I know it comes out of a tub. I know here in the UK, we have Quality Street, we have Celebrations, things like this that come in certain colours. And I know people have the favourites, but I know there's an American version of it as well. And I also know I'm right here, there will be memories of going to like an ice cream factory or parlour shop, that we will get like the ice cream with chocolate chips on as well.
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Then I'm going to stop with that and just hold it because I do know what I've just been shown. I'm going to do that for my next contact. Then
Okay.
With your mum, would you understand that she was a very strong-minded lady as well?
Indeed.
And I know that what she liked, and if she didn't like it, people knew about it.
Yes.
And I know she didn't hold grudges, but I know ethics and morals were right as well.
Absolutely.
And I also know that Mum could be old-fashioned in a way because she liked to see the family together, and she didn't like excuses when they didn't come together.
True.
And I also feel there will be memories of either garden parties or yard parties, whatever they're called.
Yes.
Because again, it's about the joy of seeing family together. But I know there will be either different sweets, different chocolates, different delicates that were brought together as well.
Always had chocolate.
And I also believe that it was people's jobs to bring different elements of those sweets and chocolates.
I'm not sure.
Because again, it just feels that variety wants to be, because I know Mum loved it as well. And that's what I want to leave you with. So I'm going to say thank you very much for allowing me to do that, Christine.
Thank you, Phil.
You're absolutely welcome. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you, Phil. Thank you, Christine.
So I know that I want to be talking to somebody, and I feel this is a passion of Mum and Dad in the spirit world, that where we used to live, we would have gone on a monthly or weekly day out to like either a chocolate ice cream parlor where we used to, and I feel it's out of the way. It's not in a city. It feels like it's out in the sticks where we used to go. And I'm sure that they have little diners or little cafes or something like that on the side of the building we used to go to.
Thank you, Phil. All right, ladies and gentlemen, who has this memory?
So I know it's Mum and Dad in the spirit world, and there will be a memory of going to these ice cream parlors. I know it's done, if it's not a regular thing, I know it's a real treat. And I actually feel, where I said it's in the sticks, I feel like, I want to be in either Canada or somewhere like that. I know I'm in either the States or Northern America, Canada.
All right, we have Denise and Dory both with their hands up.
Okay, between the two of them, I do know that it should have been, Mum and Dad should be both in the spirit world, but I feel as I look into this, it's Dad's treat. Dad's taking you out. Dad would have done this.
All right, ladies, can you both still understand that information? Keep your hand raised if yes. All right, well, we'll bring in Dory. And thank you, Denise, for listening in. Hi, Dory.
Hi, I didn't go with them. They went together. I went once.
You only went once with them or by yourself?
Once with them.
That's fine, because I know I actually felt it was either a special thing, but I know there was something about it was important to Mum and Dad, almost like it was a routine thing or a day out to go and do this.
Yes.
Because again, I just felt it was important, but I actually felt it was a treat to get away from everything.
I don't know.
Okay, would I be right though where I said before it was out in the sticks, out of the way?
Yes.
Because again, I know I'm going for a drive, I know I'm going through the countryside, I know it's a get out, but I also believe it's a destination where they could sit and just indulge themselves.
Yes.
Would I be right in saying from when you went there was many different types of ice creams and chocolates?
I believe so. It was a while ago.
Okay, then would I also be right in saying where there's a memory where Dad used to like, and I hope this translates from English to Canadian, that it's like a banana splits?
Oh, that was my mother.
That was your mother, because I know I keep on seeing it's one of my favorites from a child, and I keep on seeing it. So it's your mum that liked that, because again, I know I keep on seeing it, but I actually feel that Mum and Dad like the old-fashioned country service and style.
Yes.
Because I keep on seeing the old uniforms, and I feel it was like not just a day out to get away, but I feel it was a trip down memory lane for them.
I don't know.
Then there must have been talk with your mum and dad that they spoke to you about where they used to do this as children, and they've carried that on.
No.
No, you don't. But I know there must have been conversations about these days out.
Yes.
because again, I keep on hearing Dad's chatter about it, but I also feel as well that your dad, I know I mentioned Mum with the banana, and you said it was Mum with the banana splits, but your dad had a particular favorite ice cream as well.
Yes.
And it's almost like no version, no copies. It has to be the original.
Yes.
And I believe it was only this one place that did it.
I don't know.
Okay, because again, but I also feel that it's people would be, in fact, where they went to was quite well known.
Yes.
Because I feel people travel, and this is where I felt it was America. So people must have traveled over the border into Canada to this.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, then let me look at it a different way. Would I be right in saying there was great vineyards nearby as well?
Oh, yes.
Because I know I'm seeing the ice wines and different things. So I know I've got this, and I know people travel over. Would I be right? Please forgive me if I'm wrong, but it wouldn't be too far from Niagara or the Falls.
It's in the Niagara Peninsula, yes.
Because I know here I keep on seeing the falls. So I know, would I be right in saying that your dad was a very particular man when it came to details?
Yes.
And he's not one for small talk.
Yeah.
But would I be right in saying what he did and what he said, or what he said he did?
Yes.
Because I know his word is his bond, and I know what he says he does, and he doesn't like to let people down.
Correct.
And would I be right in saying he managed his own business as well?
Oh, many, many years ago, but not
because I
his.
know it stems from his upbringing. But would I also be right in saying that within Dad's family, Dad's side, there's actually farming, or was farming, it was part of the family?
Not part of the family.
But the close to, there was either bonds to it.
Bonds to farming with my father.
Do you understand?
Bonds to, it connects to my father farming in
That's
some
fine,
way.
because I know here that I keep on seeing the farms, because it feels where Dad comes from a hard-working background.
He does, yes.
And I know it's his ethics and his morals that he again brings in. And this is why I feel these days out are important to him, because it's about enjoying the things we did well, but also enjoying time away. And I know that's what he's trying to bring in for you, is that sense of be proud of who you are, be proud of what you've done, and be proud of having that time to self as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. One little thing from your mum. With your mum, would I be right in saying she was quite particular as well?
Yes.
And if I said she liked things done the right way?
Oh, yes.
And if I said as well that not everyone could do the things that she would like done the right way?
Correct.
And she would voice her opinion about it?
She did.
Because I get the impression here that she stayed true to who she was. She loved the things she did. And again, she wouldn't make no apology for it.
Correct.
And I know with what Dad said, Mum wants to reiterate those words to you, to be proud of what you've done and do it your way.
Thank you.
And I'm going to leave Mum and Dad's love with you, but I want to leave you with, I'm sure it's a strawberry sundae ice cream.
Okay.
Because again, I've just got the chocolate sprinkles and everything on it. So I'm going to leave that little gift from Mum and Dad for you.
Thank you very much, Phil.
You're absolutely welcome, Dory. Absolutely welcome. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say thank you very much for allowing me and Kerry to demonstrate again. And thank you, Sandra, for letting us be part of this love and chocolate service.
Oh, thank you both so very much. I love those chocolate sprinkles, and a big thank you to our friends in the spirit world. You know, everybody, we live our life in the illusion that what we see is all there is, but there's this whole other unseen world. They are very real, very much alive. You certainly have your space and your privacy, but they're only a breath, a thought, a heartbeat away. They're with us. They love us. They want us to be happy. They truly do. Our home base is wedon'tdie.com. You can get a free copy of my book there if you'd like it. Chapter 10 is How to Survive Grief, which is oh so helpful. It really, truly is, because we do understand that grief is something, unfortunately, that has brought us together. At least it has brought us together. But we are 100% here for you. Also, at the top of the page, you can click on Sunday Gathering. You can register for next week. It is not too soon. We've got some other good things coming up on Fridays. We have a beautiful Sitting for Healing, followed by a demonstration of trance mediumship with our friend Scott Milligan. March 5th, we just opened up a new course with Carrie and Phil. It's a 5-hour workshop called Spiritual Healing. You don't have to have had any training with us before. It's just a really beautiful opportunity to explore how spiritual healing works, and also sit with your eyes closed in varied ways to give and receive healing. On February 22nd, the latest news is our friend Sonia Rinaldi has a movie coming out. We've been busy behind the scenes for the past 2.5 years, filming this movie on this lovely lady who has actually used a chocolate Easter egg mold. So we'll bring chocolate into this for one of her most famous experiments, that she's been capturing images of people in the afterlife. It's pretty amazing. So again, at the We Don't Die site, you'll find information about joining us for our premiere on the 22nd of the film Rinaldi. We want to thank everybody who's so kindly donated toward our Sunday gatherings. From the bottom of all of our hearts, it's just a really warm thank you, not only making our Sunday gathering possible, but helping bring the 4 of us through some very, very tough times. So we thank you for that. And the last thing is we have our American football Super Bowl today, and each commercial costs these advertisers $7 million. It's crazy. But I'm going to be watching close because there's some good commercials, and I bet you that there's a commercial or 2 for chocolate. So enjoy the game. I'm going to turn it over to Carrie.
Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us for the Sunday gathering, where we are talking about chocolate. You didn't guess? You didn't see the theme there? Perhaps you did. Whether tomorrow is about chocolate, whether it's about cards and gifts, whether it is about love, whether it is about indulging in time for you, spend your Valentine's Day in the way that you wish to. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. It's whatever feels completely true for you. But what to make sure of? Make sure there's some time in it for you, from you. Because the one person who can love you the best is you. So whether that is treating you to some chocolate or treating you to some time on your own, allow yourself to have that. We're now going to close our Sunday gathering in the usual way, in prayer. As we draw this gathering to a close, we recognize that within ourselves, we have our sweet moments, our sweet places, and those spaces that are purely divine for us. We have that love of self, that love of others, and perhaps that love of chocolate. But we know as we move into the week ahead, we bring towards ourselves that self-love and that self-healing. For we understand that when we love self and heal ourselves, we're able to look after and send healing to others. The theme this week has been chocolate, but whatever it is within ourselves, allow that to feel connected to something greater than you. When everything else feels like it might be in the distance, allow yourself to connect with that part of you that is divine, that part of you that is truly connected to that creative force of life, that creative force of life that has been part of everything that has been created in our world, including love and chocolate and you. So walk within your truth, walk within your own being, be authentic and know yourself, and don't be scared to share who you are with the world. Amen.
Thank you very much, Carrie. And we're going to go into our closing song which reminds us that chocolate is good for us, but in moderation. But before we listen to the song, just a real thank you to Carrie and Phil, to Darren, to Scott, who's behind the scenes, to our friends in the spirit world, and most importantly, to you guys for showing up week after week. We appreciate it. We are family, even though we're just connected by computer screens. We know you're very real and we love you. So we just hope you stay in touch with us, okay? And of course, eat more chocolate. So here goes to the closing song. 1 second. I have a new way of sharing our things so they're better quality for you guys.